What's going on, everybody? Today we'll be doing a catless downpipe install on this 2010 VW GTI. This catless pipe will delete both cats in the exhaust and connect with the rear muffler section. A tune will be required for this install as your O2 sensors will be unhappy if they're expecting to have cats in the exhaust. To begin, we have to remove the two braces held in by 8 13mm that sit below the exhaust. Next, remove the shield that curves above the axle to gain access to the bottom side of the turbo. From below the car, use a 16mm wrench and socket to get the lower two of the 4 nuts that hold the downpipe to the turbo exhaust housing. The lower 2 nuts are relatively easy to access in comparison to the upper 2, which are removed by reaching over the engine from the top. Spray the studs in advance to ensure the nuts come off with as little trouble as possible. A snap stud in this area would be a big pain to replace. Removing the top nuts that hold on the downpipe requires taking off the intake piping next to the battery and horizontal section behind the motor. From here you can see your upstream O2 sensor and one downpipe nut. There is a single spring clamp on the turbo side of the rear plastic tube that you have to reach down to get. Use about 9 inches of extension and a 16mm socket to remove the top 2 downpipe to turbo nuts. You're wrenching blind to get these 2 nuts, and it's very painful on every part of the body to get in the position. Removing the heat shield above the turbo would make accessing these 2 nuts easier, but a heat shield is held in place by 3 triple square bolts, and removing those 3 would likely be more work than it's worth. This is the top inner downpipe to turbo nut. It is helpful to have a friend below the car giving you direction about where your socket is to get located on the nut. Otherwise, just push your socket on and pray you don't strip the nut or stud. With the nuts off, it's just a matter of unplugging the top O2 sensor and disconnecting the downpipe section from the rest of the exhaust. We left the top O2 sensor in, which made it more challenging to remove the stock downpipe from the car, but at least you know it's possible now. Wiggle and pry the downpipe off the turbo, being careful not to bend the exhaust bellows too much in case you need to refit the stock catted pipe. Now time to install the catless pipe. We left the upper O2 out of the catless pipe to make the installation easier, and boy was it easier this way.
Hey, oh my God!
The downpipe held in place on the turbo began connecting the muffler and O2 sensors. Installing the top downpipe nuts on the turbo is the same painful process as removing them. I recommend hand threading the nuts on first so you don't risk dropping them into the abyss of the engine bay while trying to get them on the studs. Our aftermarket downpipe put the top O2 sensor at a funny angle, but we were able to get it in.
Oh, I think it's good.
Honestly, the hardest part of this job was getting this pipe back on. Not on this end down here. There's a little spring clamp down here. Right there, you can see right here. The hardest thing to get to because you've got your firewall right there and it's just so hard to get to. What we're doing is using some slip jaw pliers. I opened it, held it shut, and then reached around like where Graydon's arm is, reached over here and held it while he put the pipe in. Now to get your T20 in that holds your intake down way back here. Of course, they had to put it in a hard spot to reach. Install the rest of your intake piping to the air filter. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you go catless on your GTI. Please smash the like and subscribe button below for more GTI content in the future. Keep watching to hear this mean machine.